All right, this is sort of a part two of Edgar Cayce, the three shocking things that are supposed to happen starting with December 2024. Now, for those of you who felt like you were robbed of those three things, you either didn't watch the whole video or you didn't understand that I wasn't quoting the actual, let's just say, predictions because they are so convoluted in this oldie, worldy language. But I absolutely gave the three things. I'm going to share it again with you, but here's what we're going to cover, because the thing that comes after that, which is actually sort of like a part two of the three shocking things, is the returning of Christ. Yeah? You ready for this? Because there's a whole explanation for that Edgar Cayce conveyed that I think you're going to love. This is happening in a very short period of time. It's starting in December. I love it, but I want you guys to understand what this really means. I'll explain now. Welcome to Landria Onkka on YouTube, here to help you break through fears to live an absolutely amazing life. You may not think it. You might think, well, that's happening out there, so how can I have an amazing life? Of course, you are a creator. You're a creator of the game. You're a creator of the events, the material world, of the feelings. It's all one thing. All right, so let me just share something with you. This is so, so important. When I shared the three shocking things, and I'm going to go into it pretty quick here, so be patient, you guys, just be patient. When I shared that, this is my channel of empowerment. I give you messages along with other people's predictions and whatever it is they're teaching that I feel is really powerful and positive. I am a spiritual transformational teacher, all right? I've got a really great track record, and I get insights. In fact, I have a download, and if you haven't read the book, this is a downloaded book that I was told that I had to get it out, and that was about 12 months ago. It must come out now. And I was up at crazy hours getting these downloads, and I wrote this. If you haven't read it, it might be the last spiritual book you ever have to read. It's called Break Through Fear, Your Spiritual Butt Kick, because you are powerful. And I'm going to tell you right now what I shared with you in the three shocking things in December 2024 that Edgar Cayce predicted. Before we go, please subscribe. Let's raise the frequency of YouTube and the AI algorithms to say we want empowerment. Okay, Edgar Cayce wasn't always right. All right, why? Because no one can be. And those of you who say, well, this person said, and this is how it is, and then you come back and you tell me, no, this is how it is. I say, yes, every reality is true. He was wrong much of the time, especially about the timing, because we're in control of the reality. We get to change anything. What I think that Edgar Cayce and Nostradamus were doing is they were warning people. What he shared about this time period, actually going into December of 2024, was that the person that would come into power here in the United States would be a global force, all right? What I shared with you in the other video is that, and I think this is shocking, maybe you don't think this is a big deal, that that person, this is a guy who said this, decades ago, would be not from a political background, but a very powerful one, okay? And that, of course, describes Trump. He came into the description of that person. The second thing they said, I think that's pretty impressive because that actually excluded pretty much everybody. The second thing he said was that this person would be a major changer on the planet. He would bring great change. And when I say great, I don't necessarily mean good. He didn't say good or bad. This is up for speculation on my part. Great change and controversy. All right? Great change and controversy. Okay, that's number two that I think is pretty shocking, because This person, in other words, I can't say that Biden or a lot of our past presidents have really made that big of a difference. I don't think anything massive happened that was neither good nor bad. But this is not going to be the case with whoever comes in power next. All right? That is shocking to me, because that means that was very specific, and buckle your seatbelt. It's going to create division amongst the people. So we have great change and also conflict. In other words, great division. He never said a war. He never said a war, okay? Just conflict. People are taking sides. That's already happening, right? Much more so than ever before. The third thing that I think is the most important is that in December we will go into a transformational stage of great spiritual exploration and implementing those powers. We're going to go into an era of great spirituality, and that's starting in December of 2024. What I want to share with you, and this is the beautiful part, my teachings, and I want you to listen to this because I saw comments and I'm thinking, did you guys listen to the rest of the video? Because I want you to know this is really amazing, good stuff. Why? Because it isn't until we're pushed, whether it's good or bad, it's not till we're pushed that we effect great change. That person is not responsible. And people say, well, they're going to usher in this, they're going to do this. No, we get to choose the response. Everything's about the response. So, as I shared with you, if there's no illness, there are no nurses and doctors, no chemists trying to cure things. It gives us these amazing goals and pathways and journeys and adventures and purpose to go into something that's beautiful, that gives to others, that takes us into something that we don't get to experience on the other side. This is what it means. So because we're going into great change, it will cause some controversial events, cataclysmic events, both on the planet, and that is preceding the return of Christ. This is according to Cayce. Some of you said, you're not quoting him. I said, I am reading exactly what he said without the ye old, whatever it is he says that's very confusing to read. There's no mistake in that, by the way, in that prediction. Now, here's what I want to share with you about the coming of Christ, the second coming of Christ. He very specifically referred to it as an era. It's an ushering in of the golden era of that spiritual space that we're going into starting next month. It's going to, I don't know why, but for some reason it seems to be emphasized in December, kicking it off, all right? I believe that people who are so sick of arguing with each other and defending this candidate and who's going to do what, still in the material world, the 3D is still talking about that, isn't getting that there's something greater. And that is going to push us to say, I'm tired of this arguing, and here's the facts, and here's somebody's going to go to jail, or who cares? That's the cause and effect of those people. And the cause and effect of you is your response. If you are judging, arguing, separating, in conflict, you're in the basement, the conversation's irrelevant. Wow, this is a major butt kick today. Spiritual butt kick. Why? We're supposed to get away from this, go into community, and nobody in any institution, government, corporation can stop us from doing that. And I believe it's happening, and I believe the second coming of Christ is going to come into play and is an era, not a person. The Christ power was the power that Jesus possessed through his high frequency going beyond the material world. That ye are all gods, these things you shall do and more. That is going to kick in. Now, you don't have to believe that. You would say it's a person, which would be not so cool because you can, get rid of that person, and one person doesn't have, massive effect on the globe. Christ couldn't be every place at one time. Some people didn't even know he existed. But because it is a movement of the Christ power, That's coming in. So we're going into this spiritual empowerment kicking in, probably because we're being pushed into things that are not feeling right. No matter what you wanted in our White House, it's not going to feel right because there's conflict and arguing going on both sides. So when we step away from that and say, it doesn't matter, what am I doing to improve this world? Look outside, there's so many things we can contribute to help others, to rebuild, to change how we live and stop polluting the planet. Those of you who are arguing, are you eating fast food? Are you buying plastic? You guys go in my description. I help you find things that don't come in plastic, including my shampoo. We're making changes. We are the change makers. This is a change maker. You can do this. I'm creating ways to show people how they can live this high frequency life. You hate what you're doing for a living? Come on over, entrepreneurs. We're creating planet conscious businesses. You're in fear? Come on over. I have free stuff here. Break through fear. It's 5-star courses and trainings that help you get past the fear that you may be feeling about what we're going into. It's going to be challenging. This is good. So I want to share this with you, not out of fear, but to tell you that we don't affect change until we're pushed to the wall. As I shared with you in the last video, Edgar Cayce was homeless for a couple of years. He went into total euphoria when he was ready to kill himself because he was so miserable. It's not till you hit those walls that you have the opportunity to make great change. Other way, you're not inspired. Go to work, go on my vacation, whatever. This is what's pushing us to affect the global change. And it is going to be global. It took a leader, somebody in power, that's going to do certain things to shake up the globe. Like I said, whether you interpret that as positive or negative, it doesn't matter. Whatever it is, we have to respond in a positive change for our lives and our reality, and that's all you have to do. So we're going to have a couple years. And by the way, this coincides with the April 2026 prediction. If you know Chris Bledsoe supposedly in touch with aliens, globes, orbs show up for him, spacecraft does. I believe the guy, I think he's the legit deal, was visited by the Golden Lady who told him that in April of 2026, when the red star Regulus aligns with the Sphinx, that there will be a new era, a feminine, more kinder era. So a lot of you interpreted that it could be that Harris was going to go into office, and that was a possibility. But just because she's a woman doesn't mean that, she's the kinder, softer, whatever. It's people. It's not people. It's a frequency, and it's absolutely a way of life. And it doesn't matter who and what you are here. It's your absolute willingness to go into that inner powerful space and go out here and stop seeing everybody else as an enemy and separate and stop correcting everybody, right? You are right, and so are they. We are allowed free will to choose our reality and our beliefs, but we are not respecting that so much right now, right? So we are going to have a couple years of turmoil, hurricanes. I've had 3 in a row here. I just moved. The vibe here change. You're going to see yourself with opportunities to make great change that are going to be, again, like whoever goes in the White House, whatever happens out there, they are affecting change that does affect our lives, that allows us to make changes. And we get to choose that. I decided, and I could have stayed at the other place, I needed to move. I just felt it was time. The energy here is so different. I feel like I just stepped into a completely different dimension. I do. I feel like this is a simpler life for me. The vibe from the people is different. You're going to have your own personal challenges. All right? Whether it's your hurricane or your job or somebody dies or something else happens that shakes up your world that's probably going to be unexpected. All right? Get ready for that. It's good because it pushes you to make decisions. And you have to ask yourself, am I hanging on to anything of the material world? Am I hanging on to opinions or what I've been taught or what I think about people of a certain color or religion or sex or preferences or all that stuff? Am I judging that? It's time to let it go because we are one, and if you Read my book, please, please, please read the book. It's in audio now. You're going to realize there is no difference between you and I. We're one power expressing ourselves in seemingly individual expressions that allows us to see what is possible in every possible scenario. You're just a scenario and so am I. And this adventure continues. You are energy. You cannot be created nor destroyed. You always were. You always will be. And just imagine this, a space with little tiny dots all over. And you look and there's one picture. But if you get close up, you see the tiny, tiny little dots, right? That's all we are, but we're still one thing. And so my energy, my thoughts, every decision I make affects you. The second coming of Christ is an era. It is going to take us in the golden era, which I told you is coming. I predicted the whole COVID. I said to people, some of my students said, wow, I remember when you told us to clean house, to get your house in order. What did that mean? I don't know. I just knew. I have intuitive abilities, but I interpret things a certain way. When people share with you their predictions, their personal thoughts, beliefs, frequency affects the interpretation of that. I will always give you the positive one because I'm picking a reality that's true. It exists, and I'm choosing that, and you can too. All right? So we are choosing to go into a higher frequency golden era, and you'll experience that, and other people won't. They won't even know it exists. They're going to say, what are you talking about? We're going to hell in a handbasket. And then they're going to be on the news watching who's doing what and saying what and what leaders are talking to whoever, and it doesn't matter. And that time that you spent on that, you could be meditating, helping people, being kind to your neighbors, doing all kinds of simple things that count. I hope this makes sense. So am I going to go and quote and do other things? You guys, it's out there on the internet. You can sit and listen to this stuff all day. But because I am a transformational teacher, I'm going to share with you my interpretation of this. And I'm telling you something. This is the most amazing, wonderful time period that anybody could experience as a human on this planet at this time. And you're a critical part of that because every person counts. You're the dot in the sand that counts. If one tiny grain shifts, they all shift even if you can't see it. We are one energy. Stop looking at your neighbor as something separate and you will go into a state of peace and unity and compassion. You'll realize that's a light expression of the same energy that I am. I am a creator. And when I see that, then the fear drops and the anger and the judgment, and you realize that is not healthy for you. It is a choice. And if you're done with that and you've learned that you don't need to do anymore, come on board. I didn't put my hat on today. And by the way, somebody picked on my lipstick. I'm moving. I didn't have my contacts in. I'm putting makeup on. I can't even see myself in the mirror. Can you go easy on me a little bit? It doesn't bother me, but it just fascinates me that these are the things that we are focused on instead of saying, yes, okay, I'm going to do my best. I'm there for you, Lan. We're going to go in together and change this beautiful matrix and go off to another adventure together. You ready for that? So again, I hope you'll subscribe. It does matter when you click and you subscribe, you're saying, I want empowerment. I want to go into peace. I want to go into abundance and health and all the wonderful things that exist right now. No matter what happens in these next couple of years, you can live, you can experience that. I promise you. All right? I promise you that beautiful things are going to come to you. Why? Because you're letting it, you're allowing it, you're connected to the unlimited space that is you. Yes. And it says this or better, this or more. There is no judgment. There's no limits in the universe, in it beyond. No limit. It just creates. You just get to say what it creates. Pretty cool, huh? So get ready for the golden era, the second coming of the Christ, the power of unity and love, unconditional, that will take us into a golden era, and that nothing out there we will look at as bad, we'll realize they're challenges that allow us to play out scenarios here that we signed up for. We're going to talk more about this. You're whole and perfect, strong and powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. I want to again tell you that down in the description, I have my Amazon store has products that have no plastic, no toxins, no animal, testing. Blue Lands down there, that I use all those products. I'm an affiliate of these, the whitening toothpaste, or the toothpaste that I use, Bite. You get $5 off. That's down there. And it comes in glass. It comes in a little pellet. It's non-toxic. Did you know regular toothpaste, all those tubes are going out there, millions of them. And also, it's toxic. Stop using the toxic stuff. Clean up your body. You're going to think clearer, right? Edgar Cayce, that's the next subject I'm going to tell you, said that what we're eating and everything we do is affecting our ability to know things, be intuitive, and do the things that he was doing. I'm going to talk more about that because we're going to go into magic, we're going to go into power, and we are going to practice that era that's taking us from December into the Christ era, the new era, the second coming of Christ. What do you think about that? We don't have to argue, but your opinions are always welcome. I'll see you there. Namaste.